I finally finished my reread of the first Hunger Games book, and it's better than I ever remembered. This is why you gotta go back to stuff that you really enjoyed and read it in your current season of life, because this had me bawling, crying in a couple places. So, first of all, I cried um, when she had to say goodbye to her family. And at the beginning, so when she volunteers as tribute, she has to say goodbye to her family. And then the other tribute from District 12, PETA, his father wants to talk to her. And he's just like, maybe somebody from the district can win this year. And she's thinking that he means his son, but really he means her. And he's like, if you don't make it, I'm going to make sure that, your family doesn't go hungry, because they know that she's the one that feeds her family. I cried there. Then Rue dying, I cried. And then I cried doubly as hard when Rue's District 11, sent her some bread after Rue died, because she was just saying, like, they don't have much, and so for them to go out of their way to send me something, and I'm not part of their district, that's real sacrifice in action. And as a friendship advocate, a community lover, I just wept and wept and wept. On to Catching Fire. Let's see what they got going. Now, before I start the second book, I watched the first movie.
I think it's our tradition.
First of all, her tracking him is amazing. But secondly, why is this so funny to me? Look at him. Then decorated himself like a damn cake. That's not supposed to be funny. But PETA. Still reading The Hunger Games. I'm on book 2. And I just gotta say this. What The Hunger Games is reminding me is that I do not have the fight part of the fight and flight instinct in cases where the odds are not in my favor. Because if they was telling me I was in the Hunger Games, I'd be like, okay, great. I go through all the training. I go to the Capitol. I'd be on the interviews, being cute. Vote for me. Sponsor me. Yeah, I'm going to give them hell in there. Just watch. My dog. I'm going to give them hell in there. Y'all just watch. Tune in to the fight. District 7. Coming for y'all. Like, I would be so convincing. All for me to get on that platform. You know how when they rise them up on the platforms and then they count down from 60. It's 1 minute. And then they say, like, if you step off, you're going to get blown to smithereens before the games even start. Baby, I would hop off with both feet. Get me out of here. I was just here for the aesthetics. But also, because I'm not letting the Capitol use me for their entertainment. Entertain this. There will be no games. Let me tell it. There will be no games. Game's over. Like Lil Flip said. Immediately no. Jumping both feet. I'm gonna like look for the cameras. Out of there. Reporting live from the comfort of my bedroom, continuing to read Catching Fire. And this passage was just so good to me. So you know that Katniss's symbol, the pen that she wore in the first Hunger Games, was the Mockingjay pen. And she's talking to the mayor of District 12's daughter, and she says, a mockingjay is a creature the Capitol never intended to exist. They hadn't counted on the highly controlled Jabberjay having the brains to adapt to the wild, to pass on its genetic code, to thrive in a new form. They hadn't anticipated its will to live. And I'm like, ooh, what good foreshadowing for who she becomes, because she becomes the Mockingjay, like known as the Mockingjay, and that becomes the symbol of the rebellion, you know, which is soon to come. And I'm just like, ooh, they didn't count on her ability to live. Come on, Katniss. Her ability to adapt to the wild. Suzanne Collins, you ate that, girl. Hey folks, I'm back, and I finally finished Hunger Games Book 1 and Book 2. So the Hunger Games and then the Hunger Games Catching Fire. So I was initially going to just continue to record as I finished the trilogy, and then I was going to do, you know, the next 2 books. But I got a lot to say about Book 1 and 2 as I wrap them up in their movies. And I just got to go ahead and say it. I just got to go ahead and get into it. And then I'll do another video for Book 3 and then the other books. We'll get there. Okay, so let's wrap it on up. I forgot how phenomenally written these books are. I watch the movies with a pretty regular cadence, you know, like it's something I can put on any old time, but I have not read the books. I've only read them once, and I haven't read them in a really long time. So this was such a good revisit, and especially given the state of our country today. Because we're looking at a maniacal system, a system that is really strongly built on class and compliance. One thing I'll say that I really appreciate about the Hunger Games in book and movie is that race existed, but it was not the focus. So as a Black woman, you know, I appreciate the honesty of films that explore race, but I also appreciate sometimes being able to escape everything being focused on race, if that makes sense. So like both things can be true. I love me a Get Out. I also love me a The Hunger Games. Both things exist. You feel what I'm saying? I also think it's important to note that while President Snow is clearly the villain in the first and the second book, the bigger villain is the system. And I think we're seeing this at play in our own lives today. It's like, yes, a person can be the figurehead for what's going on, but there is a much deeper systemic something happening to where even if that person falls off the face of the earth, another equally evil person could take their place and the system would remain the same because the system is in place to oppress. You know, so I thought that was really, really good. I also just loved seeing, because when I'm thinking about the time that this was written in, and I mean, it's not super long ago, but we had not yet reached the place where we have now, where we're seeing a lot of really strong female characters, especially in YA spaces, especially in, you know, feature films and action and things like that. Is typically like the man and then maybe the woman is his sidekick or his assistant or, you know, something like that. So we weren't really seeing a whole lot of that. And so I love that they turned this on his head and she was like that girl. And I don't just mean in terms of her like strength or her hunting ability, but also like in the romantic sense. Like Peeta was like, I'm dead in love with you. And she was just like, oh my gosh, why are we worried about this right now? I mean, I think I like you, but I don't know. Let's just see. Let's see where things go. I appreciated that. Like, it's refreshing to see letting a woman not be the typical gender stereotype. She was not overly emotional. She wasn't worried about her romantic life. She had skills that are typically considered more masculine. They just really gave Katniss such a breadth, such a depth that I absolutely adored. So I think that that is another thing that I really enjoyed about these books. Okay, I just want to say like a couple more things because I really don't want to make this super, super long, but they're so good. Okay, I also want to talk about what Cinna represented. I felt like Cinna was such a pivotal character and him dying in the second book is such a heart wrench. Obviously, Rue is a major, turning point in the first Hunger Games and a very devastating death. And we often focus on that, and we don't talk that much about Cinna. I mean, everybody loves Cinna, but we don't talk much about the fact that he did not have to do the things he did. So the people in the Hunger Games, the people in the districts, they are forced into compliance, if you will, or made to believe that they do not have other options outside of what they're told by the Capitol to do. But Cinna is from the Capitol. He's from the Capitol. He's employed by the Capitol and by the games. And, he could have just done his part and been like, oh my goodness, while I really, really adore you, I'm going to wish you the best of luck. And I hope you come back so I can put you in another fire dress. But no, he bucked against the system as someone who didn't have to. And I think that that's such important messaging, because we need more people who benefit from the system to stand up against the system. Obviously, I don't want you to die doing it. It's not the hope. But that is so valuable, and it spoke so much of his character. And last but not least, I want to talk about Team Peeta and Team Gale. So when I watched the movies when I was younger, I was always Team Gale. Yes, I love him. He from back home. He done always had your back. That's the one. But reading the books and then watching the movies simultaneously, I'm like, oh no, Peeta is the one. Peeta is the one. Peeta is the one. Okay, I do have one more thing to say. Crazy how kindness sparked the revolution. So everything that was just an act of kindness and love and compassion, those are the things that were political or that the Capitol shunned. So Peeta giving Katniss the bread was like a rebellion, against his parents, against what he should be doing, against the rations that the Capitol has set forth for the people in District 12. Then when Rue passes and Katniss, does a tribute to her. And then later in book 2, when she really recognizes her in the district, that's an act of rebellion. When she says, well, if me and Peeta can't live together, then we'll both die, which is really just sacrificial and an act of love. That's an act of rebellion. Even Katniss volunteering for her sister was act of rebellion. And so it's kindness sparking the revolution. Imagine what we can do with a little bit of kindness. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm putting down? They don't even want your compassion because they scared of what it might do. Just think about it. All right, I'll be back after I finish the Mockingjay. Bye.